Hey, welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. I'm doing another one of these mini arcade machines. As you know, I absolutely love the Asteroids machine from New Wave Toys. That's probably one of my favorite arcade games ever. Street Fighter, complete classic. Had to have Street Fighter in the collection. This is from My Arcade. Totally out of scale with each other, but I don't care. Love them to bits. But I just thought, you know, if I'm going to have iconic machines, there's one machine that kind of trumps both of these and really should be in the collection. And you know what it is from the title, or from the thumbnail, and you kind of know what it is from the background blanket that we've got here. We're talking Pac-Man. Yes, I've got a Pac-Man machine, little mini arcade to go with these other guys. This is, let me just adjust just slightly here. There we go. Yes, this is the Arcade1Up Collectorcade, I think it's called. And it's got Pac-Man in it, and it has a couple of things that I really like. First of all, let's move these guys out of the way. First of all, it has the joystick, of course, which you would need for Pac-Man, but it has it in the center of the playfield. So many of these Pac-Man variations have got the joystick over to the side, like Basic Fun and various others. My Arcade has a whole bunch of them themselves, and they always put the joystick over here and some other buttons over there, and I always thought that's so ludicrous to me. I want to play Pac-Man with the joystick in the center, the way Pac-Man originally should be. And I remember seeing the Mortal Kombat version of this and thinking, oh, well, it's not very well reviewed, and I don't care about Mortal Kombat. And then somebody posted that they also had the Pac-Man version. I thought, ooh. And the cool thing is, as you can see down below, it also comes with Galaga and Galaxian. So it's a nice combination of multiple games. Now, it has its flaws, one of which is major. We'll get to that later. But I also just wanted to tell the story of how I got Pac-Man. And for that, we got to do the unboxing. All right, so here I am kind of unboxing it, but there's a story to this one. This is actually used, so if I unbox it, quote unquote, you will see that it's already come to me having been pre-enjoyed, as they like to say. So I'm just gonna yank it right out of its packaging. There we go. And there it is, with that nice central control. There is instructions in here. I might actually look up a thing in here later, because there's a fairly critical part of this that I'm not wild about, and I want to see if maybe I can fix it. But regardless, here is Pac-Man in all of his glory. I'm going to turn him on, and I'm going to put on... It's going to be a weird balance of trying to get both the lit up marquee. Like, I like the fact that that lights up, but the screen, as you can see, is super bright. So let's see what I can do here. If I okay, so I'll adjust it so that you can see the light up marquee. Well, you can kind of make out both there, actually. Okay, so yeah, there's the light up marquee, and it actually has a menu where you can choose Pac-Man, or let me just adjust this a little bit more so you can... There you go. Now you can see both. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. So yes, you can make your selection of Galaxian, Galaga, or Pac-Man. Hit the start button, and it loads up the ROM. And it's not the arcade original ROM. I'm going to play it in a little minute. I did check a couple of reviews before picking this thing up, used, and Glenn's Retro Show did a pretty good deep dive. He's like, this is not the arcade ROM. This is some customized weird thing that Arcade1Up put onto this machine. But you know what? To be honest, I think it works fine, well enough. You're not really playing these things to play the game. It runs, it looks great, and it'll look really nice with all of the other machines. So that's fine. What is weird, and I think you have to push both of these at the same time to go back to the main menu. Or, there we go. Yeah, that'll reboot it. So I can choose Galaga and Galaxian, which is nice. And this is our fire button, I think. Start Galaxian up. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, we got a fire button. It doesn't feel too weird to be using the joystick in the center of the machine. This is fine. Ah, darn it. Let me just get the screen a little bit brighter so you can see what I'm doing here. There we go. Okay. And I really like the fact that this thing, I really like the fact it has the joystick in the center, because that is just so required for Pac-Man, you know what I mean? It sounds a little crunchy, like it's not quite the proper sound effects, and I think it runs ever so slightly too slow, but it's a Galaxian, and I love Galaxian. So let's go back. And actually, I think I'm doing that wrong, and I'll show you what I mean by I'm doing that wrong in a second. Let's fire up Galaga just to bring it full circle. Start game. The music is not quite right, but it's a kind of Galaxian, and again, For my purposes, this is something that will be sitting there as a display piece. People will walk up and go, oh, that's so cool. You've got all of these arcade machines, among which is Pac-Man, or if I want to throw on Galaga or Galaxian, I can certainly do so. And you know what? It's quite playable. It works. Now, why do I say pushing both of these buttons is wrong? I think I just hold the start button to get back to the main menu. Yes, so that's what causes it to reboot. So, okay, you don't actually need to push both buttons, and in fact, Glenn's Retro Show and others, let me just get your screen so you can see what I'm talking about again. Glenn's Retro Show and others have talked about how, actually, this button does nothing. This serves no purpose whatsoever. It's just there, I don't know, for aesthetics. Like, you can't choose a 1 or 2 player. Like, you think, okay, this is showing Pac-Man 1 or 2 player. I don't think that's true. Let's verify that here. We'll go with Pac-Man. And we'll see if I press the 2. Yeah, it's actually a dead button. It does nothing at all. So that's clearly for fire. You would think, okay, it's got the 2 Pac-Man thing there, but it doesn't actually put in 2 player. I can hit this, but it's not actually going to do it at all. So that's no good. So anyway, I'm going to now just take this back and show you some of the problems with Pac-Man, requiring me to just check the instruction manual. Okay, so I've cleaned up the screen a bit. It was used after all, and I'll talk about that in a second. Just to verify, though, I had a look through the instructions, and lo and behold, it officially states right there that third button, that player 2 button, is non-functioning in all 3 games. So it actually serves 0 purpose whatsoever. I don't know if this is like part of a mold that they had or something, but who knows? It's a very strange situation, but you know what? I don't care. It's a Pac-Man game. Now let me just get our screen so that you can see what's going on again. And without any further ado, let's actually fire up Pac-Man. And I'll tell you the story behind this thing. So first of all, what's it like actually to play? Let me just turn up the volume a bit, and I'll show you the issue that Glenn's Retro mentioned. You can hear that the music is definitely off, but it plays okay. I think Glenn had determined even the AI is not the proper arcade ROM AI, so we've got that going on. So anybody who knows their Pac-Man patterns is not going to have an easy time playing this. But again, it's mostly for shelf decoration. I've often described these things as playable art, certainly in the case of Asteroids. So I don't, and you know, as Street Fighter has shown, I don't mind if it doesn't match exactly the other machines. Ooh, let's see if I can get them all. Come here, come here. Oh, I got them all. So that's fine by me. You know, I'm very, very happy, and the screen looks really nice. It's a good Pac-Man representation. I love the fact that it actually has a lit-up R key. You know, that's something that most of my arcade machines are missing on, so that's good. Ooh, maybe I'll get all 3 again. I did. Right on. Here we go. you know, for your average party goer, for somebody who's showing up to the dinner party and sees this thing sitting on a shelf, they're going to be like, oh my god, you've got a little Pac-Man to go with all your other machines. Darn right I do. Who cares that it's not arcade accurate and has issues? Now, the biggest issue... Oh, darn it. Well, I died. There we go. Here's another problem. Oh, nope, sorry. I am wrong. It is not here. It actually comes up here. I'm going to just end the level, because as Glenn pointed out, it's not supposed to play the theme a second time, and it does. Listen. That's another indication this is not the arcade ROM. It's some customized version. The arcade ROM will just go straight back into the next level and continue along. And the sound is definitely off. It doesn't sound right, but that's okay. Whatever. I'm very happy with this. Now, this thing goes for kind of top dollar. I have seen this thing in our local Best Buys and that for going on like 120 bucks. And I just thought, well, I wasn't too sure it was going to fit with my other machines. I had to take a measuring tape to where this thing is, because especially the way this thing juts out. It's a little large compared to Asteroids, which is one of my bigger New Wave Toys collection. But I really like the side art, and that's all one piece. Like, that's not a sticker on there. That looks really nice. Love the light-up marquee. But 120 odd bucks, I don't know, especially since it's not the arcade ROM or anything like that. Well, as it turns out, there was a guy on Facebook Marketplace who was giving this thing away for 50 bucks. I was like, oh yeah, I'll drop 50 on it. Absolutely. I do have to tell you the story of that. I live in one part of the Vancouver area. He lived in a bit of a distant part of the Vancouver area. And I said, hey man, totally interested in that, but would you want to meet at like a shopping mall near where you are? It's a bit of a hike for me. And he said, oh, don't worry, I'm actually heading to your part of town in the near future. I'll just bring it with me then. Cool, great. On the day we were supposed to do that, he suddenly at the 11th hour sent me a message saying, oh, actually I couldn't find it, so 1,000 apologies, but it's not here to give you. I was like, oh, well, bummer. Okay, well, if you ever find it, that's great, no worries. 6 months goes by. Lo and behold, he comes back. He's like, oh, I found it again. Let's meet up. Okay, we get to this restaurant that he said he'd be at. I wander around looking for the guy, and I'm thinking, well, he'll be the one with this Pac-Man machine sitting with him. Couldn't find him anywhere. And I got home, and I was like, well, I guess it wasn't meant to be then. And he popped up a message. He's like, well, I'm sitting here. I'm like, well, why didn't you wave when I walked past? I guess he figured I had Facebook on my phone. I don't have it on my phone because it tends to use up a lot of data. It's not a really good app to have on one's cell phone, so I didn't. I was hopping back and forth to home to say, yeah, I'm back home now, and I didn't see you. Luckily, he did give it to me. I'm a very happy camper at that price tag. The only one thing that I don't like about this, and I'm going to have to do a little time lapse here, or maybe I'll fade and come back. The objective is, as you see right now, I want it to sit on the shelf, showing the attract mode, being awesome, next to Asteroids, Street Fighter, all the rest of them. But I think one complaint that Glenn had, in addition to not being the arcade ROM, is the fact that this is strictly run by battery. There is no way, like you put your batteries in the back there, and that's great and awesome, and it has a pretty decent battery life. But there is no ability to plug this into a wall outlet. Like there's no USB plug-in, there's no charging capability. This is strictly running on the AAA or AA's that are in the back there. That's fine, no big deal, not the end of the world. What is the end of the world, as far as my application for this thing goes, is after 10 or 15 minutes, it turns off. That's fine. That's a battery saving mode. That's not a problem. I get your logic, you guys. But that means if these things are all sitting on a shelf being really, really cool during some party or whatever, people will walk by, they'll play Asteroids, all the rest of them, and they might say, hey, how come Pac-Man is turned off? And what I got to do is just run up, hit the button, relaunch into the game, and it's fine. And it'll sit there and do the attract mode for another 10 or 15 minutes. I think I timed it once and it was like 12 minutes, so I don't get what the actual timer maybe there's some circuit in there that's determining, okay, after X amount of cycles, turn off to save battery power. That's fine, no big deal. But it also means that it's not quite, it's more than 10 minutes and it's less than 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this sit, and I'll maybe record when I'll see if I can capture it shutting itself off. It's going to take a while, so I'll stop recording now, but closer to the time I'll turn it back on, and you'll see Pac-Man turn itself off. And I did just find right here in the instructions, it says, this is the other thing, the reason I was glad to have the instructions here. Sleep mode. Collectorcade goes into sleep mode after 10 minutes of inactivity. Press any button to wake up the Collectorcade. So they know that it is a built-in intended feature, but you cannot defeat it. So if I want this thing to be playing constantly, I'm hooked. After 10 minutes, it's going to force itself off. And I can't do anything about that. Which is, again, not the end of the world. I think just anytime I've got people over and they want to see all these arcade machines running, then I'll just have to walk by and hit a button and just wake it back up again. Not critical to the overall experience, just a little bit annoying. And there we go. It just shut itself off. So that's a bit of a bummer, but you know what? All I have to do is just hit the start button and it wakes back up. And then I just go right back into Pac-Man and that'll be fine. So hardly the end of the world, but it's an annoying lack of a feature, something that I would have liked to not have to keep doing. But I'm very happy. This is the Arcade1Up Collectorcade Pac-Man edition. I'm pretty thrilled. I like the fact that it does fit to scale, sort of. I mean, it's a little bit off compared to Asteroids, obviously way off compared to Street Fighter. But, you know, it looks like it's a little bit crazy, but it's not like it's just a hair taller. The button is obviously bigger, or the joystick is obviously bigger, but you know what? It's centered, unlike so many other Pac-Man renditions where they insist on putting the joystick off to the side. This looks correct, and I'm very happy about that. Just wish it didn't turn itself off, but you know what? That's hardly the end of the world. So I'm going to leave it there. That is Pac-Man Collectorcade from Arcade1Up, yet another addition to my little line of arcade machines. Very, very thrilled. And again, for $50, it was a bit of a 6-month ordeal, a bit of a saga involved, but at least I finally got it, and I'm very, very happy. Until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.